When the Soviet Union invaded Finland at the end of 1939, Karsten Løvestad, a 23-year-old Norwegian, born on the 13th of June 1916, volunteered to assist the Finns. He went to Finland. The war against the Soviet Union was lost, and shortly afterwards, Stalin's ally Hitler invaded Norway. Together with his three brothers, he later became involved in the resistance struggle in Norway, where they helped refugees based on the family farm in Trøgstad in Østfold. Trøgstad is around 15 kilometers from the Swedish border, but the terrain is tough for those who are not physically fit. Karsten Løvestad was first arrested in February 1942, but managed to escape to Sweden. After a short time there, he became a courier between Gothenburg and Oslo, and he also took assignments as a border guide. On the 22nd of October 1942, Løvestad was accompanying a group of 10 people, 9 of whom were Jewish, and the 10th was another guide and resistance fighter, Harry Pedersen. At the Østbanestasjonen in Oslo, they got on the train to Halden, which is on the Swedish border. This is a journey of 137 kilometers. The line is a historic one, and scenic too, following the course of the Oslo fjord for part of its route. The Norwegian Parliament had decided to build this line on the 6th of June 1873, and it was officially opened on the 2nd of January 1879. When the train was between Skjæberg and Døle, the group became aware of 2 police officers who were checking documents. One of them was 31-year-old Arne Øystein Hvam, who was a member of the Norwegian version of the Nazi Party, the National Samling, or NS, the party of the puppet ruler Vidkun Quisling, and the only political party allowed in occupied Norway. Løvestad had a false passport in the name of Harald Jensen, while the Jews travelled with their real passports, but stamped with a red J. The further course of events is somewhat unclear, but Hvam is said to have asked the group to leave the compartment. Løvestad then shot and killed Hvam and jumped off the train with Willy Sherman and Herman Feldman near Besserberg. The other refugees on board the train got off at the next station. Herman Feldman broke an arm in the fall, and Willy Sherman sustained some gashes. The hunt for the 3 was one of the largest police dragnets in occupied Norway. The 2 Jews were quickly arrested, while Karsten Løvestad managed to stay free until he was arrested on the 27th of October 1942. The murder of Hvam was widely reported in the newspaper of the Norwegian equivalent of the SA, the Harden. There it was called a Jewish murder plot. Both Vidkun Quisling and Nazi Reichskommissar Josef Terboven were present when Hvam was buried. A few days later, the Gestapo ordered the arrest of all the Jews in Norway. The Hvam murder was used as a pretext when the order for mass arrest was given to the Norwegian state police officers, even though the action had been planned well before the events on the railway line, something the Norwegian state police, in their higher echelons, would have known. On the 24th of November 1942, the Free Norwegian delegation in Stockholm noted that persecution of Jews in Norway would undoubtedly have taken place, even if the murder of Arne Hvam had not taken place. However, the killing has accelerated the persecution and has come as a welcome excuse. The NS regime portrayed the murder of Hvam as a Jewish attack on the state and on the new order in Norway. On the 27th of October, the NS newspaper, Fritt defended the law on confiscation of the possessions of Jewish people on the basis of the murder on the Halden train, illogically adding that the measures are in no way to be regarded as any kind of revenge for the murder committed. The German occupation forces initially wanted Løvstad to be tried by the Norwegians. It was considered to put him before a people's court. The people's court in Norway was set up along Nazi German lines and used in trials of a political nature. In this case, it could mean acts of resistance or just harassment of members of the NS. They were not very busy. Their role, like in Germany, was that of one to create fear. However, the people's courts had not yet sentenced anyone to death, so Minister of Justice Sverre Risnes therefore asked Joseph Terboven that Løvstad be brought before a German court-martial. Sverre Risnes was a lawyer, and I would have thought that the German court-martial was not competent to judge the case. Of course, legal niceties did not bother the Nazi overlords. That wish was granted. Løvstad was put on trial without the benefit of a defence lawyer, and on the 13th of July 1943 he was sentenced to death by the German military court-martial. The death sentence was carried out on the 3rd of September 1943, and the body was dumped in a mass grave at Tranumskogen. Tranumskogen was the location of where the Nazi authorities dumped those that they had killed. After the end of the war, on the 27th of July 1945, Løvstad was given a funeral with a full parade from the Oslo Fire Brigade for whom he had worked. His body is today engraved too at Tranumskogen. Meanwhile, Willy Sherman and Herman Feldman were deported from Norway on the ship Gothenburg. They were sent to Auschwitz, where they were murdered on the 20th of August 1943. Herman Feldman's foster parents were Raquel and Jakob Feldman. Unnerved by the publicity this incident had caused, they decided to make their own break for the Swedish border. They showed up at the farm of the Løvstad family in Trøgstad on the 23rd of October 1942, asking for refuge and help to find their way across the border. As the area was still subject to search and surveillance by the police, the Løvstad family was under significant pressure and risk of discovery. The couple stayed hidden in the area for a few days until the 27th of October, when two border guides, Harry Pedersen and Håkon Løvestad, offered to take them across the border. Håkon Løvestad was the brother of Karsten Løvestad, who was arrested that very day. The Feldmans borrowed clothing and footwear for a 2-day hike. But when the four arrived at Skrikeruchana, the guides clubbed the Jewish couple to death, stole their money, and sunk their body in the lake with weights. The couple were carrying around 12,000 krona on them, a lot of money when a good weekly wage was around 100 krona. Løvstad fled to Sweden wearing Feldman's gold watch, and Pedersen returned to his home. After this, he resumed guiding refugees across the border, some of whom were Jewish. The Feldmans' bodies eventually floated to the surface and were discovered, and investigations led to the prosecution of Pedersen and Håkon Løvestad. The matter came to trial in 1947. Although the two accused did not deny that they had killed the couple and taken their money, they claimed that they had no real choice in the matter. The Feldmans were old, overweight, and incapable of the long walk to the border. They were bound to be discovered where they were, and their arrest and detention could bring down the whole Underground Railroad, endangering many more lives than theirs. The two were acquitted of killing the couple, but were convicted of embezzling their money and their possessions. These events were recounted in a 1987 film from Norway called Across the Border. I haven't seen it, but if it ever comes up, I certainly will watch it. I hope you found this interesting, and it may inspire you to subscribe to this channel. My specialisation is in the Holocaust, but I also upload material on other subjects too. I might yet do videos on two people mentioned here. That's the NS Justice Minister Sverre Risnes and Nazi Reichskommissar Josef Terboven. I upload at least one video every week, meaning that there's always a video from me at Friday at 8 in the evening Central European time. That's 7 on a Friday in the evening in the UK and 11 o'clock in the morning in California. if you are present when the video is uploaded and there is a premiere. I try always to be present. Thanks for watching.